We've looked at mesh manipulation and deformation with the awesome Claxels and Mudbun. Now let's look at mesh destruction. Let's see what RayFire is all about. I'm going to be giving free beginner lessons to one lucky subscriber. Details at the end of the video. RayFire is currently on sale at $85 US. It's a bit pricey, so let's see if it is worth getting. Other assets I'm using is Unity-chan, developed by Unity themselves, and my go-to 3D model. And this is another cool free asset, 3D Monster Bomb. I just discovered this today, so we'll check this out in a bit. So I've downloaded RayFire. I'm going into the directory to check out the documentation. So you'll see there's a bunch of RTF documents here where you can figure out, or it shows you how to do basic stuff one at a time. Some of them have links to YouTube videos, which you can check. It's just not immediately apparent where to get started, which is my one gripe about this thing. I'll say the documentation is not all there, but the author has mentioned on the asset store that he is working on it. So I got started by going into how to demolition and looking at these 3 tutorials over here. Another thing you can do is go into, there's a tutorial directory and a bunch of other directories under here, prefab, scenes. So go into scenes and you can open each of these and play around with them. Okay, so these objects are set up to with all the necessary scripts, and you can go in and play around with them. So you can go and fragment it, and well, each one of these, and see what the difference is between them. Look at all the settings, and that will guide you along. There's a whole lot of scenes set up like this, but what I'm going to do today is see how easy it is to set it up myself. So I've set up a few scenes, and I'm not going into all the functionality that this tool has because there is just so much that you can do with it in terms of mesh destruction. So I did a basic one where I created a simple plane. You can see I didn't enable lighting on the scene, but it's fine. I've got a cube which I resized and a sphere somewhere on top. Okay, that's on top somewhere. That I just put all the way up so that we can see it falling down and see the effect that that has when it collides with this. So let's see what this looks like. That sphere is small, it's falling, and as soon as it hits, that's it. It breaks apart, and you can see that looks absolutely amazing. The amount of work I did to get this up and running was absolutely minimal. I created this cube, attached a RayFire rigid script onto it, and that was it. I created another sphere where I added a rigid body. The collider is already created for you, and I just placed it above, and that's the functionality that you get. So that is really cool. So you can see here, if I move this sphere out of the way, so let me just bring that down here, and if I press play, then we go into scene, so I can control the sphere. As soon as I collide with the cube, it will break. Sorry, that's a bit difficult to control here, but you can see. So not much to do to get the setup, so that is really awesome. The second test I did, I set up another test scene, and this is the slicer functionality. So the setup for my target cube is exactly the same. I don't think I changed much here. I have the RayFire rigid component on it. And just to give you a bit more of an explanation now, there's a bunch of settings here that tell this thing how it should fall apart, basically. Okay, so there's solidity, depth, time, fragment amount, depth, and a whole bunch of stuff, and you basically have to just play with it and see how it works. Okay, you can set the material type as well. By default, I think it's set to concrete, and set it to, you can see, heavy metal, brick, glass, etc. And if you set it to rubber, for example, when this thing breaks down, it will bounce all over the place. So I'm going to do that and test that out. show you what that looks like. So if I take this thing, I've got it angled. So if I take it and slice down, you can see that split apart there. It's so cool. You can see that bounces around. So that's the rubber material at work right there. And I can take this and go ahead. Oh, sorry, I want the slicer object. Take it and slice this thing more. There's a setting that specifies how many times you can slice this thing. So that's on the target object. And let's see if I can remember where this is set. It's called depth. So here we go. Under demolition, depth. That's where you set it. And you need to set the setting slice by blade. That's the difference between the destructor and the slicing functionality. Okay, you have to have the slice by blade set. And on the slicer object, you need to add a script called RayFire Blade. Slice type XZ. This is basically the axis that you wanted to slice on. Action type, you set it to slice. You can also set it to demolish, which basically does the exact functionality that we had before. So let me just set that to that. And instead of slicing this time, it will just crack it. So there we go. That's what that does. This last scene of mine is where I decided to have a bit of fun and test out the scripting ability and the bomb functionality. I see there's a bomb script available that you can add on, and basically, yeah, it blows up your target object. So here's what I did. I downloaded Unity Chan, went into model, prefabs for locomotion. I added this into the scene, and I added my own camera with Unity Chan as the parent because I don't like this default camera that comes with it, and that basically just looks at a download angle. Then I imported JKT art, the bomb that I showed you guys earlier. Go into Mon0, there's a prefab setup, and what you need to do here is set up this RayFire bomb script or add it onto this thing. Let me show you how that works quickly. So if I take this thing and add it into my scene, press play. Oh, no, I can't see it. Okay, so there's the bomb. If I click on explode, it will trigger an explosion. So you can see it doesn't have particle effects by default. That's RayFire I'm talking about. So that is set up on the bomb, but I had to set it up in the script. At the moment, I'm just testing out the script directly, which has this button here. So you can see that explode works quite nicely. So I'm going to remove that again. What I did on Unity Chan is I added my own script. Drop bomb. So this script takes in that prefab, which you set up in the editor itself. You can see there's that Mon00 script there. Prefab. In my update method, I check for the space key. And I instantiate the bomb, set the position, and let's look at me. And then I start the coroutine to blow it up. So I get the animator. So the animator is set up already on that bomb prefab. There's an animator controller, so I'm just setting to attack 01, which I will show you how that works. If I press play, I press space, you can see it drops a bomb there in front of me, and that animation plays. So you see it gets a bit angry, the fuse goes off, and then the explosion plays. So this is that fuse animation lighting up, playing. I do a short wait for seconds. This here was a bit of trial and error. I just set it to 0.75 seconds, and then that's to give it time to play that animation. And then on the RayFire bomb script, which I get from the component, I call the explode method. I see there is timing that you can give to it, which I should have checked before creating this coroutine, but anyway, it is what it is. And you can see that works actually quite nicely. So if I run around, add some bombs in, it'll start blowing up. Can't tell you guys how satisfying it is to watch this thing blow up. And that works so nicely and so easy to set this up. I mean, this really took me about 10 minutes to set up the scene and figure out how to use the script, which was so simple. I mean, if you guys have basic C# scripting knowledge, it's a walk in the park, really. The only things that I changed here, so like I set this up exactly the same as the scenes I showed you before. It's the RayFire rigid script, and I just played around with these settings. I can't even remember all the little tweaking that I did, but yeah, it's basically, you guys can just play around with that. I created this big one here to test out how much it can fragment. And yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a bunch of examples that you can look at here. There's so many videos online, but the real trick is just figuring out where to get started. But the author of this asset is extremely responsive. I mean, you'll see that in the comments on the asset itself. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, this is such a brilliant asset. So this is a great asset, and as much as I hate to say anything bad about it, the documentation is a bit to be desired, but that's being worked on. I'll say this is more for intermediate users and not for beginners. Definitely not. And of course, this, you can see, it will definitely take your projects to the next level. So check it out. It is on sale, so grab it. Otherwise, the price is going to go up quite a bit, and it is a bit of a pricey asset, one of the more pricey ones, but well worth it, even at full price. I never mentioned this before, but I give one-on-one beginner lessons in Unity. I want to offer 4 free one-on-one beginner lessons to one of my subscribers. These will be 1 hour for each lesson. The catch is I'm going to record it and post it on this channel, so let me know if you're interested by dropping a comment. Also, please subscribe if you have not already. I will announce the winner in 2 weeks' time. Okay, till next time, enjoy.